Okay, welcome to, got a reverb.
Somebody's got audio on.
Sounds like it's coming from, could it be you?
Somebody have their audio on
1 minute.
your computer?
We got to turn all of our volumes down. Yeah, we have some reverb.
Yours isn't on Zoom, is it?
It's off on the Zoom.
All right, well, maybe we could try to figure that out. Is it the,
Somebody must have their audio on
yeah, not me.
laptop.
It sounds like it's coming.
Oh, it might, is it coming out of this?
Hello?
Oh, that could be, okay.
Okay, I think we figured it out.
Wait, how do I turn it off, though?
Yeah.
Okay, try it now.
Welcome.
I'll try to fix it.
Okay, I'm going to keep talking, and hopefully we'll get rid of the Wizard of Oz background. Welcome to the Monday, January 5th, 2026 organizational meeting of the Northampton City Council. I'm Council Rachel Maori. As the most senior council, I will be presiding over this meeting until we elect a council president. This meeting, as a reminder, and all participating in person and on Zoom will be audio and video recorded. The meeting can also be watched on Comcast Channel 15 or by streaming on Northampton Open Media's YouTube channel. I think you fixed it.
It stopped. I didn't do
Excellent.
anything.
Okay.
Credit.
So I now call the City Council to order. Can you take the roll, please?
Sure.
Those present can just answer here, just so you know.
Okay. Counselor Davis. Counselor Dobbs.
Here.
Counselor Clemmer.
Here.
Counselor Loisel. Here. Counselor Maori.
Here.
Counselor Nabad.
Here.
Counselor Perry.
Here.
Counselor Robbins. Here. And Counselor Stratton.
Here.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. And welcome to all the new counselors. Before we get started, I just wanted to share a quote that was shared to me on my first moment in council by former City Council President Ryan O'Donnell. Yeah. He said, "Enjoy this moment. This is the most popular you'll ever be." So, our first item is the election of the council president. So the process for electing a council president is that someone can nominate another. You can nominate yourself, and you'll just say the name, and we'll get all the names first before commentary. Then the candidate, the nominee, will speak, and the person who nominated them will speak, and then we can all speak to the item. So I'm first looking for names for council president. Yes.
I'd like to nominate Rachel Maori.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay. This is a quiet one. So we don't need seconds on this kind of nomination. So any others? Okay, no, that's okay. So I'll say a few words, and then we can, yeah. I'll try to keep it brief, but I just wanted to say, boy, as someone who's been, I can't believe that I am the most senior person on council at this point. This will be my 7th year, and I've been doing the work a long time. I've seen what works, I've seen what doesn't work, and I see how effective, steady, compassionate leadership can be. My first chair was the Council Rules Select Committee, where we focused on making council meetings more streamlined, more accessible, and more transparent for the public, so they work better for both the councilors and the public. I then spent 4 years as the finance chair, leading those long budget hearings. We added a fall budget listening session, so residents who are impacted can weigh in on how their money is spent. And as the vice president last term, I learned the full scope of what the role of council president requires. With so many new faces on council, I think that experience matters now in particular. It means that we can move forward out of the gate with confidence, clarity, and purpose. Oh, they can't hear on Zoom. Interesting. On Zoom or on the channel? Okay, well, I'm going to continue and maybe, did Zach hear that?
Now it's come up.
Okay. Okay. It sounds like they're having trouble on Zoom hearing. We're working on that. Is it good? Okay, great.
Start all over again.
No, I'm not going to start out. I won't do that to you. I'll be, yeah. So I just want to say, I've also, lived the reality of the people that we serve. I've raised kids while serving the city, balancing homework and hearings and bedtime stories and budgets and daytime jobs and agenda deadlines. And I've wondered if I should be doing that. But I think I keep showing up because I believe it's important that we have a range of representation that truly reflects our community. So one thing I love about council is that there's always something to learn or unlearn, and you never quite arrive. So I have this experience, but I will be learning in this role, and that's why I want us all, because there's so many new councilors, to steer away from perfectionism and nitpicking and ensure that we enter with a growth mindset, where we can make mistakes, we can learn, we can respond, pivot, evolve, create. This road for this term kind of is guaranteed not to be easy. That we're facing real challenges, we face them, and we're going to continue at peril. There's housing issues, safety of our residents, schools, people's livelihoods. So some of our most vulnerable neighbors are in real danger. And as leaders, it is our moment to show up with courage for them. We need leadership that can lower the temperature, bring people together, and lead with diligence, emotional intelligence, and fairness. Leadership that every counselor feels they can approach for problem solving. Leadership that can keep us organized, accountable, and focused on solutions, not conflict. That's the leadership I'm going to commit to. With the fiasco at the federal level, we need to show our residents that democracy here is alive and well, that a healthy separation of powers makes us all stronger, that we can challenge when necessary without tearing each other down. Strong and humble, firm and fair. When I look around this room, I see lived experience. I see hard-earned experience. I see curiosity. I see concern, passion, and care. I see possibility. Together, we can leave behind dysfunction and build something that truly reflects our wonderful community. A council grounded in facts, collaboration, and good faith. This is our moment, folks. This is your moment. Let's take a deep breath. Let's take a leap of faith, and let's show our community what's possible when we work together. They deserve no less. Okay. Yeah, so if anyone wants to speak, feel free.
Well, as the person who nominated you, I feel like that was the protocol you
Yeah.
said. And the reason why I nominated Council Maori is because of all the reasons why she stated. As the longest running councilor, I believe that as this very vast turnover has happened, this experience is going to really help guide us. I've also watched you as you have lived your values, you've made hard decisions, and what really sticks out to me is you keep your heart always at the forefront of things. And I think that is something that we need. And I'm looking forward to seeing how you take on this role and responsibility.
Thank you. Councilor, excuse me? Oh, sorry, I should probably pull that up. Okay, Councilor Clemmer and then Councilor Loiseau.
Thanks. I first met Rachel in 2017, when she was one of the organizers of the Valley Women's March, and I was chair of Indivisible Northampton. Since then, we have organized many marches together. When we organized together, we created spaces for collaboration, sharing ideas, offering guidance, and supporting one another. During the last term, we also worked closely co-sponsoring resolutions. Councilor Maori has always been dependable, supportive, and a hard worker. During her last term as vice president, she consistently stepped up whenever she was needed, taking on responsibilities with confidence and professionalism. One quality I especially admire about Councilor Maori is her ability to work well with everyone and to genuinely listen to different perspectives. She approaches her role with respect, openness, and a collaborative spirit. I believe Councilor Maori is the kind of leader who can bring us together this term, and I am proud to support her nomination.
Councilor Loizao.
Thank you. I will be brief. I just want to say I've watched you as you've been a counselor and then vice president and really respected the passion you bring, the heartfelt sincerity. And I am happy also to support you. I feel very inspired by the remarks you made today about collaboration and, leaving dysfunction behind. So I really appreciate that. Yeah. And I'm happy that you want to be president.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, I see Councilor Stratton and Councilor Dobbs. Well, Councilor, yeah.
Well, I would be absolutely pleased to support a fellow representative of the western hinterlands of Florence. Sometime we have to go up in Sawmill and figure out whose squirrel was whose, But quite seriously, this body needs your leadership. It needs your perspective. And I would be very pleased to have you as our presiding officer.
Thank you, Councilor Stratton. These new last names I get to say. Councilor Dobbs.
Thank you. Councilor Maori, you've been like my rock on the council, kind of like my North Star in a way, without getting too emotional. For real, like anytime there's ever been like a divisive issue or anything I was struggling with on the council, I could always talk to you, and you are such a good listener and so reliable. So yes, honored to vote for you.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
I feel like it's my birthday. Okay. Yes, Councilor Nabat.
Thank you. I just want to say that I'm really happy that that it's so quiet here today and we have you here. I just want to say how much I've appreciated your service to our city over the years for vulnerable people and your ability to listen. And I really liked what you said about courage, which I've seen you be courageous, and emotional intelligence, and working on solutions rather than conflicts. And I appreciate that you said everything that you said today. I also appreciate what you had to say about a healthy separation of powers, and your description of what the city needs in a president is as strong, humble, firm, and fair is that really defines you. And so thank you for being our president.
Thank you. Okay. Any other words before we go on to voting? Okay. So the way we vote, this will happen with the vice presidency as well, is that we go around and we say the name of the candidate we're supporting.
Okay. Councilor Davis.
Councilor Maori.
Your microphone.
Yeah.
Tried to turn the button.
Yeah, it'll be green.
Councilor Maori.
Councilor Dobbs.
Councilor Maori.
Councilor Clemmer.
Councilor Maori.
Councilor Loisel.
Councilor Maori.
Councilor Maori.
Councilor Maori.
Councilor Nabad.
Councilor Maori.
Councilor Perry.
Councilor Maori.
Councilor Robbins.
Councilor Maori.
And Councilor Stratton.
Councilor Maori.
I'm honored. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, guys. All right. So So yeah, so the same process, we'll just say names of any candidates for our next agenda item, which is the vice president. See, and then the candidate will speak, and then the person who nominated and other folks. So, okay, I see Councillor Loisel.
I'd like to nominate Counselor Garrick Perry.
Okay, all right, one nomination.
And I'd like to nominate Councillor Clemmer, please.
Okay. Any other nomination names? Okay, so so Councillor Perry and Councillor Clemmer, Councillor Perry, you will speak, Councillor Clemmer will speak, and then we'll go to the other councillors.
This is always the tough parts over here. But first of all, I want to just thank you for the nomination. And I'm humbled by any support and belief in me. But first off, I'm really excited to get to know you all better and to work with you guys. And that's really what brings me here. I cherish this work, and I'm going to try and keep this brief, but that's not my thing. I would be honored to help lead in this council, and I'm just going to talk about a few reasons why I'm interested and why I think I'm qualified. And first, again, I want to say that I know I'm not perfect, but over the last 4 years, I've pushed myself to learn and improve and get better at this work. As we heard today, we might fail, and we might make mistakes, but that is the challenge. And I want to help guide us through those challenges and also celebrate successes. And for that, I bring a few things. One is experience. As I talked about with Councilor Maori, I am now the second longest serving councilor. And as a returning at-large councilor, I have had to think about what it takes to balance the needs and wants for the entire city for at least one term. I've served on all but one of our subcommittees here on City Council. I've been the chair or vice chair of many of those. I know how to run meetings. I know how to ask pertinent questions and do outreach. And my experience isn't just limited to my city council meetings. I've served on several committees and commissions, the Public Service Advisory Committee for Community Development Block Grants I've served on, the Select Committee to Study Barriers to Service. I helped create and serve on Northampton's Reparations Committee. Most recently, I was the vice chair of the Ordinance Review Committee. I've served on an interview panel for police recruits and served on the Police Chief Search Committee. All these things have given me a lot of insight, which brings me to sort of my next skill, which is community building and forming relationships, both working and social. So I chaired the entertainment subcommittee for the Vibrancy Project, which is the collaboration between not only the city, but also the DNA, our Northampton Chamber of Commerce. There are other nonprofits involved in that. I've worked with Donovan in the DCC dealing with issues of houselessness, as well as issues that the business have had. I have been consistently attending the DNA meetings for a bit and offering my advice and support, and also bringing concerns from the business community here to this council. I'm currently working with the Youth Commission and their subcommittees to help them with some of their events and making sure that we bring in our youth to be involved in our city. I have a consistent record of going out and going above and beyond sort of just regular council work. The next thing I just want to talk about is my leadership style. While opinionated, I'm fairly laid back, and I do love input and respect that from others. I believe I can be even-tempered under pressure. I can step back, and I know when to ask questions or take more time. And part of my leading style is trying to build structures and be proactive. For instance, when I was the chair of the Community Resources on my first term, I wanted that subcommittee to be not just a place where things get referred to. I wanted to be proactive. So I created a structure to bring in different groups to speak, not only to the council and inform us, but also for the public. So I set up things like having our state rep and our senators come, the DCC to come, the DNA. These are all things that I set up and thankfully continued this most recent term as I was the vice chair and Councilor Clemmer was the chair. So I would like to bring that kind of value and foresight to our city council meetings, is to really start building some more structures and being proactive in how we interact with not only our community, but our departments and boards. I will always say that I will bring my ideas, my passion, and my vision in a kind of silly amount of optimism every day here. And I also bring a perspective as Councilor Maori said, we all have lived experiences, and I am, a renter here, a person of color, working class, a parent with a kid not only in two of our public schools. One is at Smith Voc, the other is over at the middle school, who will be going to the high school as well. And so I want to kind of finish this with, I don't seek value from this position, but I want to add my value to this position. And to bring it back kind of to the beginning is, I do want to get to know each and every one of you guys as people and celebrate the work we do because it's important. I want to celebrate the joy it brings to us. I want to celebrate or look at the struggles and sacrifices and learn from you all. And I don't view this work as transactional. I think of it as transformative. I want to help lead that change and that transformation that Councilor Maori was talking about. I've lived most of my life working with people, and I look forward to working with you again. And I want to be clear. I think none of our votes should ever be personal. And so I believe my strengths, my skills, and experiences far outweigh any weaknesses that I bring to the table. And I hope you really take that into account as you cast your votes.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Robbins, for the nomination. I truly appreciate it, and I'm grateful for the confidence you've shown in me. I've asked for your support today. I'm asking for your support today because I care deeply about this council and about doing this work well. I work hard, I show up, and I follow through. And I've taken the time to speak with each of you because I respect the body and the responsibility that comes with leadership. Those of you who have served alongside me know how seriously I take this role. I do my absolute best to be responsive and accessible to constituents, fellow councilors, and staff because I believe being accessible and dependable is not optional, it's the job. When someone reaches out, it often matters to them. I believe reliability and respect for people's time are foundational to good public service. After nearly a decade of working with Council President Maori, I know her leadership well, and I'd be honored to support her in this role. If elected as Vice President, she knows she can rely on me, and I deeply value the open and honest conversations we've always been able to have. I'm proud of the consistency I've brought to this council. I haven't missed a council or subcommittee meeting. I come prepared and I stay engaged between meetings. Over the past term, I've had the opportunity to co-sponsor 13 resolutions, working with nearly every councilor. To me, that reflects collaboration, trust, and a shared commitment to moving our city forward together. As Chair of Community Resources last term, I worked closely with department heads, city services, and the Housing Commission. I brought in a wide range of speakers and helped ensure that councilors and the community had the information needed to make informed decisions. When city services needed support, I stepped in without hesitation because leadership means showing up and doing what needs to be done. I ran again to represent Ward 2 on a promise to unite our community, and I have tried to live that value every day on this council. I've worked with Council President Maori over many years, and on rallies, resolutions, community efforts, and our shared history reflects a commitment to collaboration, coalition building, and a strengthening Northampton for everyone. I am especially proud to have support from people with different perspectives, and that matters in this moment. That support reflects my belief that we can disagree respectfully and still work together productively. It shows that even when we don't agree on everything, we can work together with respect, listen to one another, and focus on what's best for our city. In closing, I want you to know that I am ready to serve in this role. I am steady, committed, and deeply invested in the success of this council and our community. At a time when trust and collaboration matter so much, I would be honored to serve as Vice President and to continue working alongside each of you to help this council function at its very best. Thank you for your time, your trust, and your consideration. I would be honored to serve in this role.
Thank you, Counselor. Okay, Counselor Loizao.
Sure, I'll just speak to why I nominated Councilor Perry for Vice President for many reasons. I think I was thinking about running for City Council for over a year before over a year ago. And so I came to almost every single city council meeting. So I've been watching for a long time. And I have been impressed with his natural leadership ability and the thoughtful way he engages during council meetings. He listens to councilors, he is humble, and he knows what he believes and shares that. This term, we have 4 returning councilors, with Councilor Maori, the most senior, Councilor Perry next, and then Councilors Clemmer and Dubs with 1 terms under their belt. In my mind, seniority means something. It's not everything, but it is important because these positions work most effectively when filled by people with deep knowledge of how the council works, how it interacts with the mayor, and its role with regard to all city departments. It's helpful if the vice president knows how to run a meeting efficiently and effectively, and Councilor Perry can definitely do that. Other reasons I am confident he will make a fine vice president, notably his experience on the council, working hard on the Reparations Commission with the Youth Commission, on the Select Committee to study barriers to serving, and ably serving on other boards and commissions. Importantly, outside the council, he has forged relationships with downtown businesses and the rich community of artists and musicians that make Northampton vibrant. He has been a tireless ambassador for our city, a promoter of our downtown like no other. And from what I've observed, he is motivated by one thing and one thing only: his deep love for the city, which I share. In terms of his lived experience, he's a longtime renter, the parent of 2 children in Northampton schools, a man of color, and a gig worker. I think all of those things give him a perspective that is a valuable one for one of the 2 senior leadership positions. All of this does not mean any disrespect at all to Councilor Clemmer. I have really enjoyed getting to know her this past year, and I think she too is deeply committed to this city and this council. I consider her a friend and will be happy to work together as colleagues on the council. Just one additional point I want to make. I truly believe in the open meeting law, not just its legal requirements, but the spirit of the law, which to me is all about getting public officials to deliberate, not just vote in the public eye. So to me, this vote is important as a matter of process, that we all show up here, explain our positions in the public eye. We have a choice to make today. It's a hard choice, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing. That's democracy at its best. Once we've made that choice, we will move on, roll up our sleeves, and get to work.
Thank you, Councilor Loisel. Councilor Robbins.
Thank you. And can I please speak to my nomination for Councilor Clemmer? I've nominated Councilor Clemmer for the position of Vice President of our Northampton City Council based on a number of strong factors that make her my solid choice for this work, which is specifically about the skills needed to do this well. Councilor Clemmer has a demonstrable history of working collegially over the past 2 years with our new president, Councilor Maori. They need to have that critical compatibility to do the detailed work of agenda creation and the often onerous administrative council demands together. Councilor Clemmer has a 100% on-time, in-person attendance record at council and committee meetings. This matters. Council leadership needs to be present and in the room. Councilor Clemmer has served admirably as Chair of Community Resources. She has a solid track record of creating agendas, seeing that they're submitted for posting on time. She has shown her facilitation ability in that role, allowing all voices to be heard and moving the group through the agenda in a very timely manner. Councilor Clemmer has a personal background working with Councilor Maori in the enormous task of organizing the details and logistics of political rallies, which require many of the same skills needed in conducting the detailed business side of our small city council. I know all too well firsthand that Councilor Clemmer responds quickly to all constituent queries. She returns phone calls, she responds to emails. This habit of work has been an outstanding hallmark of her ward council leadership. This is a new council with many new members and a new era serving at a time of great national unrest. Here in Northampton, in our little city, we can, as councilors, create a new dynamic together in how we learn, listen, and explore best outcomes that impact residents of the city we all love. I admire Councilor Maori's and Councilor Clemmer's commitment to creating this powerfully impactful focus on thoughtful and reasoned discussions in which we consider all evidence and views presented with open minds. We ask serious questions, we seek informed answers, and we adhere to a willingness to vote based on a solid commitment to what best serves our city and the will of our people. I fully support Councillor Clemmer as Vice President of our 26 and 28 City Council, and I hope that my new council colleagues will as well. Thank you.
Councillor Davis.
First of all, I think that we as a council are lucky that we have a hard decision, that there are two excellent candidates, two people that are willing to step up for the vice president position. I would like to voice my support for Councillor Perry. I've written here Garrick, so I guess I'm not supposed to say that. For Councillor Perry for vice president. As a fellow from Maryland, D.C. person, which that was an interesting connection that we have that I first learned when I got to talk to him first some months ago. Very importantly, I value Councillor Perry's seniority and experience on the City Council. He has demonstrated through committee work and in interactions his interest in building bridges, advancing equity, and honesty. And those things are strong values for me as well. I think it is valuable, especially, well, always, but in the time of a hopefully transforming downtown, to have his strong relationships with artists and businesses. I think that Councillor Perry will work collaboratively with everyone on the City Council and in the community and demonstrate that public service is something that they can also aspire to. And those things are important to me. And also, I didn't know that Councillor Loisel was going to mention something similar-ish, but I don't know that an official rule can be made about something like this, and perhaps it's naive for me to say, because I know that on a teeny scale of politics in our small city, I know that in the State House and in DC, people talk ahead of time and voice their interest in leadership, and that's life, I suppose. But I think for me, that discussions of leadership would be better shared all right here. Speaking, instead of days and weeks prior to swearing in, speaking only for myself. It's been distracting for me from the work ahead as I wanted to focus on what I had been elected to do, and I really don't want to offend anybody here on the City Council. Every single person here is a leader, and I care very much for and respect all of my colleagues. And I think that whatever happens here today, in our votes, we are all committed to doing what's best for Northampton. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Davis.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. Councillor Clemmer and I became new councillors together 2 years ago, and we, started learning, the charter and everything together and all the rules to be city councillors, and it has been a real privilege over the past years to see how much you've evolved and progressed as a councillor, and you always come prepared to meetings, and I've learned a lot from you, and you, Councilor Maori and Councilor Clemmer have proven that they work really well together, and that you worked well together even before you were both councilors, and so it feels natural just that you be the vice president, because I think that you were you're a good listener and you are very collaborative. And in the past, Councilor Clemmer and I have had disagreements. But even then, we always listened to each other and heard each other's perspectives. We would meet up for coffee, and and we'd move on past our disagreements. And I think that's really important in a leadership role. So yeah, worked well with Councilor Perry as well on many things. And so my vote for Councilor Clemmer would not be it's not a vote against you in any way. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
So I'll make some comments and then anyone else if you have any further ones. Yeah, I just wanted to say, yes, as Debbie meant, excuse me, when I was thinking about our past, I didn't used to call you Councilor Clemmer. But yes, Councilor Clemmer and I have worked together in many different iterations, and I was always impressed with her ability to handle many things at once, to handle new information and many crises. And she is someone who doesn't seek a lot of recognition for how hard she works. And I think it's been nice to see you in a formal role with a title as a counselor. I see the leadership role in general, like president role and leadership, as getting bigger and bigger. I mean, we have an engaged community, and we have complex issues in the world. And I think I would like a leadership combo that is, set up for the most efficiency and success. And I see Debbie as someone with a proven track record of being responsive, of reaching across the aisle, of being willing to talk to many different folks. I think she's great at giving feedback in a way people can hear. That's not no little thing, because that actually can move people from A to B. And as I said before, I plan to give this job all I've got, but it's certainly a job that I can use some reliable help and a good, proven working relationship. And that's what I have with Councilor Clemmer. And yeah, she works in good faith, and I think she's in her time on council, she's had some real success as the chair, as a chair of community resources, and also stepping in. We were really grateful to Councilor Clemmer for stepping in at the last minute for city services when we needed a counselor. So I'll be supporting Councilor Clemmer. Thank you. Is there any more comments before we go? Okay, so we'll do what we'll do is everyone will say the name of the candidate supporting, and Laura will write it down.
Okay. Councilor Dobbs.
Councilor Clemmer.
Okay. Councilor Clemmer.
Councilor Clemmer.
Okay. Councilor Loisel.
Councilor Perry.
Councilor Maori.
Councilor Clemmer.
Councilor Nabad.
Councilor Clemmer.
Councilor Perry.
Councilor Perry.
Okay. Councilor Robbins.
Councilor Clemmer.
Councilor Stratton.
Councilor Clemmer.
Okay. Look, it's 7-2. Oh, I'm so sorry, Councilor Davis. I haven't gotten back to the beginning. I started with Councilor Dobbs, so yeah.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Counselor Perry.
Okay. So 6-3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in favor of Councilor Clemmer and 3 for Councilor.
Thank you to both candidates. Thank you for putting yourself, and congratulations, Vice President Clemmer.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Okay, moving on. The next item on the agenda, I'll just explain the appointment of the Enrollment Committee, which is appointed by the sitting president. The Enrollment Committee is basically two counselors who act as representatives are willing to DocuSign documents to confirm the accuracy of what took place in the document, a decision that was made or an order that was passed. So it's a legal responsibility. It needs to be done in a timely manner. I actually had 2 counselors volunteer, so I'll just go with that. So Councilor Loisel and Councilor Clemmer are up for the task. So thank you, and I'll be appointing those 2 just to sign documents on behalf of all of us. Let's see. Okay, now, look at us cruising. Okay, next is, you got that right? Okay. Is 26.001, in order to adopt City Council rules for 2026 to 2027, requiring only 1 reading. I would like a motion and a second to get on the floor for discussion. Can I have a motion to adopt?
I make a motion to adopt the city council rules.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Vice President Clemmer, second by Councilor Robbins. Yeah. Okay, so now it's on the floor and we can discuss it. I will just say that we adopt the rules on our initial meeting, so basically so we can proceed. And just so you know, the kind of pecking order is that our council rules supersede Robert's rules. But with the lack of a council rule, we would defer to Robert's rules. So we have been able to proceed this far without adopting the rules yet. But I would say, so new councilors know, you can amend council rules at any point. The benefit, in my mind, of doing it at a later date is that if you did it at a later date, the proposed amendment would be specifically listed on our agenda for public consideration, and there would be time for public input through comments and emails about that change. So that's generally why I feel we don't. And also maybe some experiential time on council to know, what's working, what's not for you as a new counselor. Not to sway you, but just to give you that background as to why we generally aren't offering amendments at this point. But yeah. Councilor Loisel.
Yeah, I read these many times. I think they're great. I'm not proposing anything. I just want to point out that on page 14, 4.4 says for remote participation, when video technology is in use, the remote participant should be clearly visible to all persons present. I think that's a really good idea, and I noticed that it didn't happen last term. Right. So maybe there's some rules that we don't always follow, but I think that's a good one, and I kind of encourage us to follow that, because we're all here. It's good to see each other's faces when we're talking.
Right. Thank you for that. What'd you say? Oh, yeah. Councilor Stratton?
So, I've spent a lot of time reading through the council rules, reading through the charter, watching meeting videos of the most recent council. Recently, I was watching a bunch of meeting videos of a council of 10 years ago, and, culture changes, practices change, challenges change. There's things in the council rules that I would be sort of interested in talking about changing, but I don't really think that's a today thing. I think that's a let's get our feet wet, see how things are going. I think something that the public is very interested in is the public comment time limit. I am someone who's recently spent a lot of time rehearsing things to 1 minute and 55 seconds, and I absolutely get it, trying to be effective in that. At the same time, I didn't really understand what was going on with written public comments, so I didn't really use that option. And in retrospect, I think I would have tried to put some of my arguments in writing and email them to the council. That is then distributed to councilors, and make my main highlights in the verbal comment rather than trying to squeeze everything in there. And I do really want to hope that this body looks more at how we engage with the public and how we foster that really critical conversation. I would like to see us more willing to actually, recognize a member of the public during our deliberations. When I looked 10 years ago, this used to happen quite often. But I think this is a conversation to have in our minds. I don't really think that this is a today thing. So I am okay with, starting out running with the roles that we inherit.
I really applaud Counselor Stratton for being able to bring that up. And I'm not sure how we, if we want to have a discussion about the rules, do we just holler at you and say we want that on the agenda? How do we make that happen? If we don't have, that sort of, would it be okay to have an agenda item that actually said, hey, let's all look at the rules together?
Yeah, we can have a discussion. We can put a discussion on the agenda. When we go to actually, we can refer to legislative matters, but we can have a discussion. We can have a discussion, just put it on the agenda, and I'm open to discussion. I think that there's always, the needs of our public and ourselves change often, and it probably should be good practice to have that discussion. So, yes.
And then maybe every now and again have a review on how we're doing with them. Because I noticed a lot of the same things that Counselor Lizelle said as well. There's some good stuff in there that we kind of skip over. And then there's some stuff that's not in there that maybe we ought to be thinking about. So holding ourselves accountable to it might be another part of that discussion.
That's a good point, yeah. Anyone else? Councilor Perry.
Yes, so this is not really a suggestion to change any rules, but something that when I was talking about building structures and being proactive, I think us as counselors and the community would do really well from hearing from some of our boards and commissions. So I'd propose that maybe we add, perhaps under the presentations section, that we have check-ins, and you as president and vice president could sort of get a calendar and discuss with all the chairs and departments, so that, pick a time limit, maybe 1 or 2 minutes during that period before we get into the meat of our things, just to kind of check in with our boards, who are also volunteers and people who are doing great work. So that's my suggestion.
Yeah. Councilor Stratton?
I'm just wondering, I think, I haven't been here, but watching, I think committee chairs have often, used the announcement time to do things. So I'm just wondering what the difference would be. Are we formalizing it more? Are we expecting it? Is that what you're asking for? Okay.
Yes. I'm looking for a more formalized, like if people are only coming to say when they need something, as opposed to just kind of filling us in. I think, again, being proactive is going to be very beneficial.
Love it. Yeah. I'll just make a comment about the 2-minute, we had that debate. There's someone in the room who was on the committee with me, Mr. Simon, and it was interesting. We watched public comments, and we timed how long it took us to understand their point of view, where, what they were advocating for. And we thought 2 minutes was enough. It's not enough necessarily to explain something in detail, but what was happening, would happen without that is that the amount of voices that could be heard would be less. So you would have less people being able to speak. So it's definitely not perfect, and I'm certainly willing to look at that again. But I just wanted to give you that background because we did discuss that. And just so you know, as new counselors, subcommittees have different. The chair really can dictate the participation of the public, and generally in subcommittees, it's at least 3 minutes. And public hearings are different as well. But any case, I love the ideas, and I'm definitely willing to put them on the agenda. Yeah, maybe get a few meetings under your belt so you kind of understand how it plays out, and then I think that's very exciting. We have a motion on the floor in a second. If there's no further discussion, we can do a voice vote, which is aye.
I was going to say motion to accept the rules as they are for now.
Yes, well, we have a motion on the floor in a second, so yes, thank you. So we are going to adopt, a motion to adopt, so we'll do a voice vote. All those in favor of adopting the rules?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that passes. All right, so now we are moving on to our city solicitor. So, oh, yep. Oh, do you have a microphone? Generally, I'm sure you all have questions.
Can I sit over here?
Yeah, whatever you're comfortable with, yeah. You can save them to the end if they're, if you think they're really pertinent, you could interrupt, but maybe we'll let the solicitor give us an overview and then we can humble you with questions.
Thank you, Madam President. Congratulations. Congratulations, Madam Vice President. And thank you to all of you who are new on the council. Really appreciate your service. For those of you who are returning, I appreciate your past service and your willingness to continue. And for those of you who've been on the council, you've heard this spiel before, and I'm so sorry you're going to hear it again, but you are. And so let me just introduce myself. My name is Alan Seawald. I've lived in Northampton since 1981, and I've been the city solicitor since 2012. And so I'm going on my 14th years, and so none of these faces were here when I started, and that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. So I've been asked to come here today to talk about subjects of open government, and these are really important topics and things that are not only important for you and the public, they're also important to you to stay out of trouble. And that's my goal, is to keep you out of trouble. So I encourage you, with regard to these issues or any other issues that you need help with, to contact me. Okay? You have my email address, acwald@northamptonma.gov. I will give you off-air my cell phone number so each of you has it and can use it. Please feel free. I want to help you succeed. And so open government is really a three-legged stool. There's the open meeting law, there's the public records law, and the conflict of interest law. Okay? So let me just go through these, and this is really more of a sensitivity moment than a moment for actually tackling issues you may have. And if you have issues, please call me, and we'll work through them. So let me start with the open meeting law. Okay? The open meeting law is exactly what it sounds like, that your meetings will be open to the public. And what that requires is that when a quorum of this body is deliberating, that it be done in public. Okay? There are a lot of other requirements of the open meeting law, but you're fortunate to have such skilled staff and Laura to take care of most of them for you, to do the posting, to put agendas together and doing the kinds of things that need to be done, the preparing minutes and all of that. You have somebody to do that for you, so you're very fortunate. And but there are other things that you need to do. Okay. First of all, if you haven't yet, you're going to get open meeting law materials that you have to sign a certification that you've received. Please do that. File it with the clerk. Take care of that. The open meeting law has many traps for the unwary. A quorum of this body is 5. So please don't ever let me see legislation sponsored by 5 of you, okay? Please don't do that, okay? The message will be that 5 of you have communicated on a matter that's before the council. It's a violation of the open meeting law. So the limit for you is 4. 4 of you can speak to each other about anything you want to speak to each other about, from your kids' birthday parties to the important matters of the council. You can speak to each other about anything. 4. None of those 4 then can speak with any other council, because serial communications can constitute the deliberations of a quorum. This includes expressing an opinion by electronic means or any other means to a quorum. So Laura will be sending you materials from time to time, and you may send each other materials to be considered at a meeting from time to time. Please do not reply all. You should never be replying all to messages that go to the entire council because you've just violated the open meeting law. And I encourage Laura to remind you every now and then when she sends you things not to reply all. Okay? And I try to do that when I send things to a body like this.
Relevant question to this.
Yeah.
Is asking a question unacceptable at that point too?
No, the answer is unacceptable. So you can put a question, I intend to address the following question at the next meeting. Fine. Okay, so should we amend the council rules? That I'm asking the president to put it on an agenda. If somebody replies to that, that's an open meeting law, replies all to that, it's an open meeting law violation. So the violation is expressing your opinion on a matter that comes before the council to a quorum. Okay, putting things on future agendas, sending documents around that are to be considered at a future meeting without any characterization of what the import of those documents or that question is not a violation of the open meeting law.
Just to be clear though, if I wanted to ask a clarifying question, it's okay to reply all, or should I just send it to
You
the
should
one
not-
person?
No, if you're
Okay.
asking a clarifying question about something that was sent to you,
Yeah.
that should be done in a meeting.
Oh, so wait until the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
I misunderstood your question. I thought you were the first to ask to state that I want to put this question before the council at the next meeting.
No, I was wondering if Laura sends something to everybody and there's something in there that I don't understand
Do not reply all.
with a
Do not
question.
reply.
Okay.
The last, one more thing I'll say is, you will never be asked to vote by secret ballot. Do not ever vote by secret ballot. Okay, that's just a golden rule here, all right? I don't want to recognize, that's not my place to recognize.
Yes. Understand I'm coming at this maybe a little bit more from an information theory background than a legal one. We're talking in different worlds, but let's say that the city were to have some unprecedented issue and 4 of us start working on legislation to address it. And then out of the blue, someone else sends me an email and says, hey, Chris, I think we should work on legislation to address this problem. But I'm already talking to 4 people about it. So I'm trying to understand, do I reply and say, sorry, I can't talk to you about that?
Yes.
Do I just ignore them?
No. Sorry, I can't talk to you about this right now.
I mean, can I say I'm kind of OML'd out, or I can't talk to you about this right now? Because it seems like I'm leaking the fact that I'm already talking to too many people.
Yeah, but you're not discussing the substance of what it is you're talking to people about.
So I can't discuss that with you until a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. So, fundamentals of open meeting law, a quorum must meet in public. That's really the bottom line, because the public has a right to know, and it has the right to see and hear your deliberations. And so, again, if there's any questions ever come up, please contact me. Okay? So let me move to the public records law. Okay? Any record that you make or receive as a counselor is presumptively a public record. It doesn't matter what form it's in. So your texts become public records. Your emails become public records. Your phone messages can become public records. You must preserve these documents. My strong recommendation to you is to use the city email address for this purpose. At the very least, you should create a new email address for your city council service if you don't want to use a city address. You don't want to be in a situation where somebody has to root around your private emails to find public emails. Okay? But that's a possibility. The state does not generally do that, but if they have reason to believe that there may be public records, in your emails that are not being disclosed, they will. And so if you use the city email and someone is making a public records request for emails on a certain topic, we have IT who can actually handle that if you're using a city email address. If you're not, we don't have anyone to do that for you. Okay, so my strong recommendation is to use the northamptonma.gov email address for your city council work.
Can I ask a question about that? So can you clarify, for example, if we want to collect a listserv for a newsletter, and the newsletter needs to go out on a separate email than our government email?
Right.
Can the listserv be collected on a different account?
I'm not sure I'm not sure I understand that
So-
question. I'm not a really tech person,
Yeah,
so
okay.
so please bear with me.
If we collect a listserv, is it advisable to have it be on the government account or on a separate email account that's dedicated towards that?
I don't know, this is just a listserv for constituents?
Listserv in order to send out a newsletter, which is going to go out on a MailChimp and from a separate account. So the newsletter would not be going out from our government account, right?
No, it will not.
Right,
Not
so-
as, not if,
Yeah.
well, there's a question, are you doing this as a counselor, are you doing this as a candidate?
You're clearly doing it as a counselor, and you're doing a
Right.
quarterly, I mean, Aileen, I know, sorry, counselor, I'm not getting used to it. I will be inheriting, I know, Alex's listserv and Alex's email for MailChimp to send it out. I know Debbie sends one out, yeah. Did you get that clarified before? Yeah.
If that's okay, because it took me about a month to figure this out through MailChimp. MailChimp will not let you use your northamptonmass.gov email. You have to have a Google email to use it, so you have to set one up, you have to pay for it. So mine's like Debbie at debbie.clammer.com. So that's a separate email. It's not, on my listservs, though, I put my government email, my city email account, because I want to be able to communicate with constituents on the listservs, like Round Hill and Village Hill and different ones. So
Your listserv is on the MailChimp.
my listserv, no, my MailChimp account is a Google account. You can't use your government account
But do you
on
have a
MailChimp.
Google email for that?
Yes, you have to
Okay,
pay
separate
for it and set up a Google email. And then if you get on neighborhood listservs, you can put whatever on, but then you have to be very careful if you send stuff
Thank you.
out through, and using your government email.
Thanks for finding.
Then you have limitations. I could talk to you more later, too, if,
Yes, I mean, you can't use the government email for non-governmental purposes, including campaign materials for other people. Those are the types of things you can't do. But as long as you're operating and you're communicating as a counselor, not as a candidate, you can use your city email. So, obviously, we want to think carefully about what records we create, understanding that they are all public. And I'll just leave that there. So, the last thing I want to talk to you about very briefly is conflict of interest. And I want to distinguish conflict of interest from the other two, the public records and the open meeting law. The state agencies that handle public records and open meeting law, they just want to see compliance. There is very little punitive enforcement unless there's something really egregious, intentional violations. Conflict of interest law is something a little bit different. There is a whole enforcement division at the State Ethics Commission. Okay? And so the first thing that I'm going to tell you is that if you have a concern about a conflict of interest, contact me or the State Ethics Commission before you do anything. Because if you call the State Ethics Commission and ask for the lawyer of the day, which I have done for one of you, I haven't heard back from them yet, but and you say, this is something that may happen in the future, you will get the lawyer of the day, and they will give you advice, and they will guide you through how to deal with potential conflicts. If you call them and say, last night I voted on X and now I'm concerned, they're going to connect you to enforcement, okay? Let me just tell you, you don't want to get connected to enforcement, right? So please contact me before you do anything. It's very important. The underpinning of the conflict of interest law is that when you act exclusively in the interest of the city. So what does that mean? That means that any matter that you, your immediate family, your employer, or a prospective employer has a financial interest in, you need to get some advice before you proceed. And what kind of financial interest are we talking about? Holding contracts with the city. You, your immediate family, your employer, a prospective employer, holding a contract with the city should raise red flags, okay? Taking action on something that foreseeably can affect the value of your property, please get some advice before you proceed. When you do have a conflict, it's not enough just not to vote on it. Okay? You cannot participate in that particular matter in any way. Okay? The advice the Ethics Commission gives is to leave the room when you have a conflict. Now, I don't think it's necessary to leave the room. You're entitled to observe what's going on in this council, just like any other citizen of this city is entitled to observe what happens at the council. So I don't think that's strictly necessary, but that's the advice they give, leave the room. You certainly should step down from the dais, and you should not be sitting up here if you have a conflict of interest. Very important. No quid pro quo. And we learned a lot about quid pro quo in the past decade, but nobody can give you anything of any amount for you to actually do something as a counselor. Okay? And so, no quid pro quo. Even if it's not a quid pro quo, you can't accept, as a counselor, anything of substantial value, and the Ethics Commission has set that at $50. So if somebody wants to take you to a Red Sox game, pay for the ticket. They're going to take you out to dinner, pay for your dinner if it's more than $50. $50 is the limit for you to take gifts as a counselor. As I said, you can't participate in any matter in which you, your immediate family, or your employer or prospective employer has a financial interest, a foreseeable financial interest. You may not receive compensation from anyone in a private matter in which the city has a direct and substantial interest. Okay, so you can't represent interest adverse to the city in a matter that the city has a financial interest in. You can't act as an agent or an attorney. I don't know if there are any attorneys on the council, but you can't act as the agent or attorney for any other party. And you can't hold contracts. Now, one thing that has arisen quite frequently in the 14 years I've been here is fundraising for private nonprofits by counselors. A lot of counselors, to their credit, are trying to raise money. That could have a very coercive effect on people you're asking for money. So think about who you're asking for money. If people are coming before the council for something in their business, you should not be asking them for money, even for a third party. Because whether you intend it or not, people can feel coerced to give money even if they don't want to, because you're a city councilor, you know, and you may have something that they want. And I will emphasize here, and I'm just about done, but I do want to emphasize here that if you ever have concern, if you hear that little voice saying, "Wait a minute, my mother-in-law, works for that company," call me, please. Call the State Ethics Commission. I can't urge you strongly enough to do that. And those really are the three pillars of open government.
Solicitor, could you speak to social media? Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry.
I can. If you create some sort of social media account, and let me tell you, I am not a social media person, and so I don't engage in any of that. But if you do, you have two choices. You can prohibit all comment, and it's only outgoing, or it's open to everybody. If it is your city council account, okay? You can have private accounts, but if you are the city councilor, you cannot exclude comments you don't like. Okay? And all of this, just understand the First Amendment is that when you open a forum for comments, it's an open forum. And you can't allow comments or not allow comments based upon the content of the comment. Right? The First Amendment prohibits content-based regulation, and most of the time. And so if you're going to create a city council account, you're going to either prohibit all comments or allow all comments.
Maybe just a follow-up question, and then we'll go to Councilor Stratton. Is there a distinction, a meaningful distinction between a candidate, say, Facebook page versus a council?
Yes, candidate's Facebook page is a private Facebook page.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how, they look different, what makes them different, really, I guess, if you're doing your campaign for them.
Right, when you're campaigning, you're not a counselor. Or you could be a counselor, but it's your campaign. It's a separate entity. It's not the council.
Thank you. I think Councilor Stratton had
Yeah, I was just looking into this a fair amount. And, indeed, I think one might say there are three sorts of Facebook profiles, and I actually now have all three. I mean, I had my personal profile, then I created my campaign profile. I've now kind of put that in the background. The other day, I created a, in-office counselor profile. So, what you are telling us about would apply to my official profile as a city councilor.
Right.
I then went and I looked in some of the city's Facebook, presence. And there is a comment policy there, which basically, the city is asserting the power to limit comments to the topic. So it's not viewpoint discrimination, but it is saying, you have to stay on topic and you can't just, abuse people, insult their, characteristics, whatever. So I've sort of adopted that. I also found a sort of a flow chart from the ACLU, which, they're not government, but we do tend to listen to what they say some. That I thought was very informative on some of this. And, is this an official page? Is it a campaign page? Is it a personal page? So I'm, it's tricky, but I'm trying to take my guidance from that. And, I might have questions for you at some point, but I sort of think I'm headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I think you are also. It is tricky, and it's sometimes hard to distinguish, and sometimes the distinctions seem like a distinction without a difference, but they are distinguishable.
I just wanted to add also, it's interesting also, Solicitor, how this has evolved since I've been on council. I mean, there wasn't really the policy in place necessarily in terms of details of that when 7 years ago. I also wanted, I wrote down to circle back to just with open meeting law, speaking about people who also serve on subcommittees. Sometimes that distinction makes a difference
Correct.
in the amount of people you can speak to.
Well, that's right. If you are thank you very much, I really appreciate that. If you are assigned, you will be assigned to committees. Committees are subject to the open meeting law to the same extent that the parent body is. The quorum will be different. I don't know if we're still doing 4-member committees, which I recommended against, but I was overruled. So a quorum of a 4-member committee would be 3.
And so just to give an example, so if there was a piece of legislation that was coming to full council and 3 members of a committee happened to be sponsoring that, let me think, what was my? It's right, that's what I'm saying. You have to kind of think about not only the number of 4 in the full council, but how many people you serve with on a committee, and also whether that item is likely to be referred to that committee, in which you will now be, that's the issue with subcommittees. If we refer something where that 3 of the sponsors are, it shouldn't be, that 3 of the sponsors are for the sponsors are on the committee together, that's an issue as well,
Well,
correct?
I guess that may be true if we know that it's going to be referred to a committee where 3 of the 4 members are sponsors. But the sponsorship is something that's filed with the council, not with the subcommittee.
Right.
And so the
that's okay.
sponsorship is 4.
Okay, great.
And even
Thank
if
you.
3 of them are on the committee that it will be referred to, it's not sponsoring a bill at committee, it's sponsoring a bill in the council.
Thank you for that. I was wondering about that. But yes, so to think about our subcommittees and our full council. Questions?
I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit more about organizations, just because I've been very involved with some local organizations, and so can
The
you?
fundraising for organizations?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could just.
This is a very fact-driven issue. So, for instance, many city councils are the liquor licensing authority. And I'm just using this as an example that doesn't apply here. But if, in fact, you were issuing liquor licenses, you wouldn't be doing a campaign among the bars and restaurants to raise money for some great cause, because those are people who could feel coerced. So it's very fact-driven. And but I also should say that you could put an advertisement in the newspaper, you could go on the radio or on TV and say whatever you want to say, ask people to give money generally. It's when you target a constituency is when the problems arise. General, blasts of requests for donations are never a problem. But it becomes a problem when you start selecting constituencies, and those constituencies could feel coerced to make a donation even if they wouldn't otherwise.
Right. So, for example, like posting about hot chocolate run on a Facebook page, that's not considered zooming in on anyone.
Not at all.
So that's considered okay.
Oh, if you want to put a Facebook page up that says, give money to the hot chocolate run, as long as you're not targeting that to a constituency that may be beholden to the council for some reason.
Councilor Loisel.
But making an announcement at the announcement time on the council floor, is that allowed?
It depends on what the announcement is. If the announcement is, I think all downtown business people should contribute to this, that may be a problem because, they may.
No, I just mean a general announcement. The hot chocolate run is,
Oh, no, that's encouraged.
okay.
Yeah. Yes. I understand there's some confusion about what announcements are since they've really blossomed. Any other
Morphed.
questions for our solicitor? And yeah, I bother him pretty regularly. He's never said, boy, is that a stupid question, Rachel. So
I've never thought that.
at least you've never conveyed it. Thank you very much. Yes.
Can you say again that we are free to email you or contact you with any question? Like,
Yes.
it doesn't affect the bill, like I think of a legal bill for the city or something.
Oh.
That's okay that we on our own do that. I don't need to clear it with the president, hey, can I call?
You're an elected official. My position would be that, you know, if, particularly in these situations, this.
Better to call.
Absolutely, absolutely better to call. Can I say it will affect the bill? Yes, it will affect the bill. I'm not going to tell you it's not going to affect the bill, but I do try to be conservative with my time, and I do think about the, you know, the city's budget. I
No emergencies.
do.
Okay, thank you. You are there? Oh, I'm sorry, Chris, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just one of the things I find very interesting is to look at how other communities have handled things. So I was actually reading East Hampton's council rules last night, and they actually do have a provision that we do not, which is that if a councilor wants to get advice from the solicitor, that has to go through the council president. We don't have that, and I'm not saying we should. It's like, oh, it's interesting. Different communities do things differently. You know, I think we've leaned towards having a well-advised council, and they've leaned towards pinching pennies, and you know, there's balances.
That's interesting. Thank you.
If I may say, you have the right, each of you has the right to my opinion on a conflict of interest, okay? So I don't think that that could apply to the conflict of interest law, that council rule, because you have a right to either my opinion or opinion of the State Ethics Commission. So
Okay.
Just a comment that it's more, it conserves money if we just ask you a quick question than if we do something wrong and then it blossoms into this big thing and you have to start defending us and writing letters and yeah, I agree. Like, you just, if you're ready to hit send or something's going on and you're just not sure, don't do it and just wait
Right.
the next day and just shoot you a quick text or, and just be conservative.
And the last thing I will say is that I was remiss in identifying myself as the city solicitor, because I am actually the temporary city solicitor. My term ended when the mayor's term ended. And you will see me back here for a confirmation hearing sometime in the coming months. So for right now, I'm the temporary solicitor, and I would very much like to be the full-time solicitor again.
Okay. Counselor Loizao.
So do you think if we do have a question about the conflict of interest, it's better to do it by phone or?
Yes. I
Phone.
would-
Okay.
You can text me, you can email,
Okay.
you could call me. And sometimes, as happened today, if there are issues that I'm not sure about, I call on your behalf. If you give me permission, I can call the State Ethics Commission on your behalf and get their input. But again, you have the right to call directly to the Ethics Commission, and if you need the number, let me know, and you just ask for the lawyer of the day, and sometime within the next 24 hours, you will hear from them. That's the way it works.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so our next item is 26.002. In order to set the date and time of the 2026-2027 City Council meetings, single reading only is required. May I have a motion and a second to get to our discussion?
And make a motion to set the date and time of the next term meetings.
Second.
I'll second that.
Okay, Counselor Dobbs, second. All right, so I'm not going to read through all the dates, and this, again, like the rules, can be amended at any time if we find there's a conflict. Yeah, I guess that's what and pointing out that we meet once in the summer, once each month, and we've been doing that remotely. Yeah, is there any questions about the dates? Okay, so this is a voice vote. All those in favor of approving the dates for our city council meetings, say aye.
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 Oh, yeah, got borrowed, huh? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that passes. Okay, we're really cruising today. Okay, so the only administrative item I would say, that I will be working with Vice President Clemmer on your city council committee assignments, and we will let you know at the latest by Friday, probably before, but I just wanted to give us a little time about the assignments. And, yeah. And, yes, our next meeting is January 15th, the full council meeting, yes. Yep. Any other? Yes, Counselor Loisel.
So when the assignments are made, how does the meeting happen, the first meeting?
It's, we post a meeting. Laura's really helpful with that. We find a agreed time and we meet. And each subcommittee will have to vote for a chair and a vice chair. And after that, the chair will be responsible.
So
for
basically
setting-
Laura
but,
will do the
yeah.
logistics of starting each first meeting.
Right, and there are regular meeting dates for each of the committee. You know, the first Monday is city services,
Okay.
the second legislative matters, third community resources. So I guess I would be in touch with whoever's. And I'm trying to think how it works. That I think it's the first person that you put on the list of the committee that serves as chair, at least for the organization meeting.
right,
The
that's
first,
right.
I think, and so I would be in contact with that person, I guess, to try to schedule, and maybe, hopefully, it'll follow the normal schedule, but if not,
That's true, you need someone to open the meeting, right, yeah.
Right,
And
right.
some meeting, if they're not council committees like energy and sustainability, transportation, they have their own set meetings. The other ones, you can get together as a subcommittee and change those meeting times, but we will probably start with the standing ones. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, Counselor Davis.
I may have missed this, and he left. When or how do we get the phone number for Solicitor Seawald? Does he email it to us?
Yeah, we can give it, we can give it to
Okay.
you, yeah.
Not that I have any issue.
No, that's good to know. Okay, so that's all I have for now. There's any new business? New businesses would have to be written out and distributed, so that's, we can go over that if you'd like another time.
I will move to adjourn then.
Ooh.
Second.
Okay, with a motion, a second. There's just a reminder to new counselors, there's no discussion on adjournment. Besides being annoying, it just isn't. So we can do a voice vote. Yeah, so all those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great job, counselors. Enjoy the rest of your day.